It was a humid summer evening in Atlanta when Officer Daniel Hargrove pulled over a sleek black sedan for a minor traffic violation, his patrol car's lights flashing in the dimming light. He smirked, assuming the driver, a black man in a tailored suit, would be an easy mark for his usual routine of intimidation. Little did Hargrove know, the man behind the wheel was Marcus Tate, the newly appointed head of the Atlanta Police Department's Internal Affairs Division, a figure whose authority could unravel careers with a single report. What began as a routine stop was about to spiral into a confrontation that would expose Hargrove's biases and force him to face the consequences of his actions. Marcus Tate sat calmly in the driver's seat, his hands resting on the steering wheel at 10 and 2, just as he always advised his officers to do during training seminars. He was 42, with a lean build, close-cropped hair, and a demeanor that radiated quiet authority. As the head of Internal Affairs, Marcus had spent the last 6 months investigating misconduct within the department, earning both respect and resentment from colleagues. His phone, resting in the center console, buzzed with a text from his deputy about a pending case, but he ignored it. His focus was on the officer approaching his window, whose swagger suggested trouble. Hargrove, a 15-year veteran of the force, had a reputation among his peers for bending the rules. At 38, he carried himself with the confidence of someone who believed he was untouchable. His blue eyes scanned the sedan as he approached, his hand resting casually on his holster. To him, this stop was routine, a chance to assert dominance, maybe issue a ticket or fish for something more. He tapped on the window with his flashlight, motioning for Marcus to roll it down. "Evening, sir," Hargrove said, his tone clipped but laced with a subtle sneer. "You know why I pulled you over?" Marcus kept his voice even, his eyes meeting Hargrove's without flinching. "I'm not sure, officer. I was driving within the speed limit and my vehicle is in order. Could you clarify?" Hargrove's jaw tightened. He wasn't used to this, calm, articulate responses from drivers he assumed would cower. "Your tail light's out," he said, though he hadn't checked. It was a line he used often, a pretext to dig deeper. "License and registration." Marcus reached slowly for his wallet, pulling out his driver's license and the registration from the glove compartment. He handed them over, his movements deliberate. "Here you go," he said, his voice steady but firm. Hargrove took the documents, glancing at the license. The name didn't ring any bells, but the address, a well-to-do neighborhood, caught his attention. He raised an eyebrow. "You live in Buckhead. Nice area. What do you do for a living?" "I work for the city," Marcus replied, keeping his answer vague. He knew where this was going. He'd seen it before, both as a civilian and in his years climbing the ranks of the police department. The probing questions, the assumptions, the subtle edge of hostility. It was all too familiar. Hargrove snorted softly. "City job, huh? Must be cushy." He stepped back, gesturing toward the car. "Step out of the vehicle, please." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly, but he complied. He opened the door and stepped onto the pavement, his polished shoes gleaming under the streetlights. At 6 feet 1 inch, he stood slightly taller than Hargrove, his posture relaxed but alert. "Is there a problem, officer?" he asked, his tone still measured. Hargrove's gaze flicked over Marcus's suit, his polished demeanor. Something about it irritated him. "Just need to make sure everything checks out," he said. "You got anything in the car I should know about? Weapons, drugs?" Marcus shook his head. "No, sir. Nothing like that." Hargrove's lips curled into a half-smile. "We'll see about that. Mind if I take a look?" Marcus knew his rights. He could refuse the search, there was no probable cause, but he also knew escalation was what Hargrove wanted. Instead he nodded. "Go ahead," he said, stepping aside. Hargrove began a cursory search of the sedan, opening the driver's side door and rifling through the center console. He found nothing but a few pens, a notepad, and a charging cable. Frustrated, he straightened up, turning back to Marcus. "You seem awfully calm for someone in this situation. he said, his voice tinged with suspicion. Most people would be nervous. I've got no reason to be, Marcus replied. I haven't done anything wrong. Hargrove's eyes narrowed. Yeah. Well, we'll see what dispatch says about you. He radioed in Marcus's license information, expecting to find something. A warrant, a record, anything to justify his instincts. As he waited for a response, he leaned closer, lowering his voice. You know, you don't exactly fit the profile for this neighborhood. You sure you're not lost? Marcus's jaw clenched, but he kept his composure. The comment wasn't new to him. He'd heard variations of it his entire life, first growing up in a working-class neighborhood, then as a young officer, and even now in a position of power. I'm exactly where I belong, he said, his voice low but firm. The radio crackled, and the dispatcher's voice came through. License is clean. Registered to Marcus Tate. No warrants, no priors. Hargrove frowned, his grip tightening on the radio. Copy that, he muttered, but he wasn't done. He handed Marcus's documents back, his tone hardening. I'm going to need you to turn around and place your hands on the vehicle. Marcus raised an eyebrow. On what grounds? Hargrove's face reddened. I don't need grounds to ensure my safety. You're acting suspicious. Turn around. Marcus took a slow breath, weighing his options. He could reveal his identity now, end this charade, but something stopped him. He wanted to see how far Hargrove would go. He turned, placing his hands on the hood of the car. His movements deliberate. Hargrove patted him down, his hands rougher than necessary. You got anything sharp in your pockets? He asked, though he didn't wait for an answer. He pulled out Marcus's phone and a small leather card holder. Flipping it open, Hargrove froze. Inside was a badge. Atlanta Police Department, Internal Affairs Division. The title read, Director. Hargrove's face pale.